Donald Trump plans to roll back tariffs on metal and aluminum goods as he battles an affordability crisis.
Got big things happening here today. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we've got Donald Trump potentially pulling back on some tariffs. We've got Diaspora communities across the world sounding the alarm of Mark Carney's deal with China. We've got some other stuff going on here. Let's jump into this. Starting this one off, we've got Shrey Teast here modeling out some polling data. This is Ontario polling data. We're seeing 44% for Doug Ford's PCs and 30% for the Liberals. So we see a big jump there. As soon as Bonnie Crombie's gone and Nate Erskine-Smith, whatever it may be, something's making the Liberals' numbers move up and Doug Ford's numbers going down, and modeled out 88 seats for the PCs and 20 for the Liberals. You notice the NDP minus 14. Ouch. Got this one from CTV News. Dominic LeBlanc to lead large trade mission to Mexico next week, because that's not the deal we need to be making right now, but that's what he's doing. We also have Chrystia Freeland was found to have violated the Ethics Act by using government press conference to promote Leslie Church during her failed 2024 by-election. Freeland's riding association paid the fine of $910, while Freeland herself will face no penalty. Moving ahead, look at this site. We've got Mark Carney, Pierre Poilievre, Elizabeth May, Mary Simon, Don Davies, Yves-Francois Blanchet. All of the leaders jumped on the government jet, went to Tumbler Ridge for this vigil. Quite a powerful scene here. I just want to play two short clips from this.
This is grace. It's what we do for each other. It's what we receive from each other. Open hearts when the world falls apart. Tumbler Ridge is full of grace this evening. Tumbler Ridge est plein de grâce ce soir. I want to speak for a moment about those we lost.
So he goes on to name all the names of the students that perished, and in general, this was a decent speech. It was still kind of political. He once again mentioned wildfires, and as Juno News was pointing out here, critics question whether it was meant to console the community or push a political agenda, given Préval's advocacy for stricter pew-pew laws. And something else I wanted to note, Carney speaks French in here multiple times.
What happened doesn't have to be the end of what's to come. Ali Pauveau est la preuve vivante qu'il est possible de supporter l'insupportable.
One must ask, why is he speaking French in Tumbler Ridge? Tumbler Ridge is an incredibly conservative area. It's up in the middle of rural British Columbia. There's no French speakers there. What's the French-speaking population? If he's there for the community, he shouldn't be speaking French. He should be speaking to the people there. This is just another political opportunity for him to get some sound bites, because if you notice Pierre Poilievre's speech, he doesn't speak a word of French. Somebody seriously dropped the ball in Carney's camp there, thinking it would be a good idea to get some sound bites. Just listen to how Pierre Poilievre starts this off. He's changing the tone here, and this message comes from the heart.
We are a nation with a broken heart, but we are also a nation with open arms. And those arms wrap all of the people of Tumbler Ridge in love. We are all today Tumbler Ridge strong. The Prime Minister spoke of grace. And indeed, Prime Minister, you have shown tremendous grace in bringing together the leaders of all political parties and flying us here together as one. We all lead political parties, but today there are no conservatives. There are no Liberals, New Democrats, Greens, or Bloc Québécois. We are all, as we were in that plane together, mothers and fathers. We all watched our kids go to school.
Well, what a powerful statement there. Ripping down the political lines, unifying the country with this message. This is some powerful stuff.
Expecting them to come back safely. We've all had that experience when the child leaves your sight for even an instant, that terror. That gives us a tiny, minuscule glimpse at the absolute heartache that the parents who have lost so much are suffering today. There are, as the Prime Minister said, no words that will ever fill the infinite gap that is now in your life. Some of you have told me that even this morning you keep waiting for your little one to come running into your bedroom. But all there is silence. To the students at school, the teachers and administrators, You have witnessed an incredible horror that will be indelibly marked on your memories. Out of that, you have shown incredible, relentless courage. Teachers who barricaded kids and protected them.
It's quite a different tone here with Pierre's speech versus Carney's. No French sound bites, just talking straight to the people right from the heart. With that said, we do have an update here. So Maya is still fighting. This is some really heart-wrenching stuff here to look at this update here from her mother. Swelling's gone down. Doctor keeps layering on the worst news ever. And I put my foot down. I cannot hear the worst news every hour. Not when I can see change. Still a long road ahead. She still has a piece of metal in her. She still has shards in her brain. And she still cannot breathe on her own. The future is so unknown. Everyone pray for Maya. Moving ahead, Donald Trump is potentially going to be rolling back his steel and aluminum tariffs, which is throwing a big monkey wrench into the whole situation. You've got to wonder if Jamil Jivani had something to do with this.
After months of digging into the trade war, the Trump administration may be considering a retreat.
That's going to be the president's decision.
A new report suggests the president could be considering walking back his signature tariffs.
We'll see if there's kind of a narrowing. My understanding is if anything is done, and I don't think it's great reporting that we saw today, if anything is done, I think it would be sort of clarification.
According to the London-based Financial Times, Donald Trump plans to roll back tariffs on metal and aluminum goods as he battles an affordability crisis that has sapped his approval ratings. The White House dismissed the report as baseless speculation. But an official told Global News Trump's tariff agenda is nimble and nuanced, suggesting there's wiggle room.
Instead of raising taxes on domestic producers, we're lowering them and raising tariffs on foreign nations.
There could be more going on here than meets the eye. So sure, he could just be doing it for his midterms, as the polling numbers are not great for him right now. Things are getting more expensive in America and to get more support from the people. But maybe it's also has something to do with Kuzma, with Mark Carney. If he is indeed not working with Mark Carney, maybe he thought, as he said, it'd be easier to deal with a liberal, but maybe he didn't anticipate Mark Carney working with China, being so cozy with China to the point where that puts a direct threat on America. Jamil Jivani goes down there, gives him the real situation of what's going on with Carney and all of that and the Liberal Party. And he's like, maybe you should pull back some of these tariffs, give less power to the Liberals, get the Liberals out, get a conservative government in Canada, start working together. China no longer becomes a threat to America through the northern border. I mean, who knows? There's a lot of moving parts here.
Trump hiked tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum to 50% this summer and expanded taxes on a range of goods made from metals in ovens and washing machines.
We lost tremendous amounts of money.
So have American businesses. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York found nearly 90% of the tariff economic burden fell on U.S. firms and consumers.
All of the analysts are showing that Americans are, in fact, paying the price of these tariffs. No one other than Trump really thinks the foreigners are paying.
Rising costs could spell trouble for Trump ahead of the midterm elections in November. Yet he continues to threaten more levies on Canada and downplay the impact on the U.S.
Do you agree, then, that Americans are paying those tariffs?
I think, no, I don't agree. I think that they might be paying something, but when you take the overall impact, the Americans are gaining tremendously.
I mean, in reality, there'll be some companies that greatly benefit from this, and then other companies just getting completely hammered, especially ones that have to bring in parts from out of country and there's tariffs on that stuff. Then now they're having to pay 50% more. It just destroys your business. You can't increase costs by 50% on a lot of these businesses when their margins are 20, 30, 40%.
Ultimate decision will be up to the U.S. Supreme Court, which could rule on the legitimacy of most of the tariffs in the next few weeks.
The Supreme Court ruling will basically set the stage completely of what's going to happen here. If those tariffs get struck down, then most of these will come off. Another segment here, this one on CTV, talking about some specific products like washing machines and cars.
The American Nonpartisan Tax Foundation reports that tariffs will cost the average U.S. household $1,300 more in 2026.
There's definitely pressure because it is hitting different markets, and we're seeing that in the auto sector as well. Like Ford's earnings last week were dismal. So it's a situation where tariffs don't always work.
Even if the president is considering rolling back tariffs on steel and aluminum, here's what he posted just 2 days ago. Canada has taken advantage of the United States on trade for many years. They are among the worst in the world to deal with.
U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer said there likely won't be a rollback of the tariffs, more of a clarification or possible exemption on certain items like refrigerators and washers. But then again, Marcia, it's the president's call.
There's a whole lot of arguing in this comment section. I mean, we're going to have to see what happens with this. Is this just a report that was put out, or is this based on something? Is Trump really going to do this? Moving ahead, we've got Sam Cooper with this. Hong Kong Diaspora group sound the alarm on Carney's secret PRC police deal. The Bureau's reporting already proves them right. We have a letter that came out, as it says here, 10 Hong Kong Diaspora organizations spanning Canada, the United States, United Kingdom, and Europe have issued an extraordinary open letter to the government of Canada expressing deep fear and anxiety over Mark Carney's deal with law enforcement cooperation signed between the RCMP and the Ministry of Public Security of the People's Republic of China. The second I saw this, when he was over in China, I was like, that's bad news. They're going to open up our police records to China. China loves to use their leverage of citizens' family members to Canadians to control them over here. That's what they do. The letter was released on February 12th in a plea from communities that fled Chinese state repression and now fear that Carney's Liberal government has formalized cooperation with the very security apparatus that drove them from their homes without telling them what the deal contains, what safeguards exist, and who is watching. So we've got the letter here. This is coming from Hong Kong Watch. Hong Kong Diaspora groups raise concerns over PRC, China Ministry, and Public Security MOU. Today, Hong Kong Watch and 9 other Hong Kong Diaspora organizations have raised serious concerns over the Memorandum of Understanding. This is quite extraordinary and, well, embarrassing to Mark Carney. And I don't know if embarrassing is the word, disturbing, shocking. It says here they explain the inescapable effect is immediately and corrosive. Even the perception of closer engagement between Canadian agencies and Chinese security authorities chills free expression, civic participation, journalism, and advocacy, and drives vulnerable people out of public life. Trust between law enforcement and diaspora communities is essential. They add, and without confidence, their privacy and safety are protected. Communities may hesitate to report crimes or work with police. Yeah, they don't want to get involved because they don't trust the police at this point. That's basically what Sam Cooper's article says here. And I'm always showing a few blurbs here from Sam Cooper's article. You can go support Sam Cooper here on the Bureau. This is investigative journalism at its best here. As one Hong Kong Diaspora member put it, I no longer feel safe reaching out to the RCMP. I fear my identity could be exposed or that information I share could somehow reach the Chinese authorities. Documents obtained and reported by the Bureau point directly at Chinese police agents illegally working with Canadian law enforcement in warnings from CSIS to Mark Carney's predecessor Justin Trudeau. PRC officials have used covert and unauthorized tactics, including unauthorized trips to Canada, threats, intimidation, harassment, arresting relatives in China as a form of leverage, paying Chinese language journalists to locate and track individuals, and discouraging people from reporting their covert activities to Canadian police. This is exactly what I said. Yeah, I used to be married to a Chinese woman. I went to Chinese dinners every single Sunday in the depths of Richmond. And if you're not familiar with the landscape of Richmond, it's a city basically attached to Vancouver on the south side. It's completely filled with what was originally people from Hong Kong. Now it's probably the majority of people are from mainland China. No matter where the people are from in China, whether it's Hong Kong or mainland China, they all have something in common. As far as I know, everyone there is trying to escape the People's Republic of China. That's why they're there. They want a better life away from Xi Jinping and the Communist Party of China. So yeah, I'm not surprised that they put out this open letter and they're absolutely terrified of Mark Carney doing a dirty deal with Xi Jinping involving our police forces, because that just means they can blackmail these people and use their family members as leverage here in Canada. They can't get away from them. So Sam Cooper goes on to say, read that again. The Chinese police have paid Chinese language journalists in Canada to locate and track targets. They have arrested family members in China to coerce compliance. They have actively discouraged victims from reporting to Canadian police. And he goes on to say, consider the state of affairs in Canada. Just over a week ago, a major scandal upended the Toronto Police Service with allegations that numerous officers assessed internal databases on private citizens at the behest of gangsters. So I didn't cover that story on the channel. There's just so many things going on. But yeah, the police were caught accessing internal databases for gangsters. And he says the Canadian law enforcement officers stood in the way of street candy trafficking trafficking faced a murder attempt. What we know about the Toronto police officers implicated in a corruption probe. There are 7 current and 1 former Toronto police officers who have been arrested following a months-long investigation into corruption and organized crime. York Regional Police divulged the details of Project South at a news conference Thursday morning with Toronto Police Chief Myron Demkew along them. The police officers were among 27 suspects charged in the investigation. It is alleged the officers provided personal information to conduct crimes, including V-word connected to the tow truck industry, surprise, surprise, and that one accused participant in a plot to end a corrections officer. We have corrupted police officers in Canada. The Hong Kong Diaspora groups are right to be fearful. The evidence is on their side, not on the side of Mark Carney's government. In fact, Carney's Liberal government has largely ignored the concerns of the Diaspora and the warnings from CSIS. So that's just a blurb from his article here. Go support Sam Cooper and the Bureau here. That's only like a third of the article. It's very alarming, this whole situation. I can tell you who's not going to be voting for Mark Carney in the next election. It's basically all of Richmond, as well as the Chinese diaspora communities across Canada. Moving ahead, we've got 6 men charged with luring underage girls for S-word has prompted an outcry from justice critics. It's deeply concerning to continually see individuals charged with serious and heinous crimes released into the public, said Jamil Javani. Yeah, this is how the Liberals set up the system. They want us to be terrorized by these people. It creates a bunch of noise in the media and then they can get away with their scandals. All 6 men were charged last month in a sting operation dubbed Project Firebird. The arrests were announced on Monday, and it goes on to say here all 6 men were released on an undertaking, Gluckstein said. They didn't even go for a bail hearing, he said. They were all just released on a promise to appear in court at a later date. I'm sorry, but these are monsters of society. We should be sticking them in a jail cell where they have to work 10 hours a day. And with all this news, we have more breaking news. Another catastrophe in Quebec. We got this story out of Kitigan Zibi Anishishibag. Father and 2 children are gone after I can't say any of these words. The father took out the children and himself. Canada's got some problems here we have to fix. Moving ahead, we've got NDP leadership candidate Avi Lewis post pictures from his most recent rally, and well, what do we see? We see a bunch of people with masks. Let's just make this big so you can see all of them, all the masks out here. Yep, the cult can't quit culting. We also got this one from the National Post. Ontario resident who wants to have both body parts and wants the public to fund it has won. A court has ruled Ontario must pay for both body parts. That's all I'm going to say. This is so stupid. What a waste of money. What woke judge said, yeah, this is a good thing. Let's have taxpayer money spent on this.